Divine Rising New Earth.
Divine Rising New Earth. Welcome to our first video episode.
I'm Anneka.
I am Calista, and we are so happy to have you here for Divine Rising New Earth.
Yes, this podcast is kind of like a play on Good Morning America, but Divine Rising New Earth, because we want to actively, in the quantumly present moment, create the frequency of a new reality individually and collectively. We love media, we love YouTube, podcasts, all of the people sharing their wisdom and knowledge and creativity with the world, and we just wanted ours to be a frequency of heaven on earth for absolutely everybody. So this is our little fractal piece of that.
We love to share. We had another podcast called Brainwash Yourself. We had a few video episodes of that as well that are up on YouTube, and that was all about reprogramming the subconscious mind. And one thing about Divine Rising New Earth is the topic is a little expanded. It's about the collective ascension, as well as we love to talk about spirituality, metaphysics, philosophy. My metaphysical view is like hollow fractographic unified field theory of the universe. So to brainwash yourself is to impact the whole collective through like this quantum hollow fractographic metaphysical mechanism. So that's why this is like the perfect evolution of brainwash yourself.
Yeah.
To just expand outwards to the collective.
100%. There's a study in quantum physics where if there's like one quark or like electron on one side of the planet and something happens to it or it's observed in a certain way, it can literally affect an energy particle that's all the way on the other side of the planet. And the idea of that is how we all affect each other in this collective ascension. You know, I heal, I release something, I integrate something back into wholeness within myself, and it ripples out and it affects the collective consciousness. It not just affects your family line, generations behind you, generations in front of you, which it definitely does, but it can also affect someone you would consider a stranger across the entire world. And then like even beyond that, we also like to talk about things that go beyond just the earth. So like into the galaxies and beyond, we're all so interwoven and connected. And if we could see the way, the like web of energy and the way we're all woven together, which is just like beyond the spectrum of what most of our human minds can conceive at this point in time, then we would be a lot more tuned into this interconnectivity that we all share. And that's why we want to continue to bring attention and energy to us all healing and evolving and growing and creating from a place that's more connected to our higher wisdom and our higher self, because then we all can continue to experience more of a heaven on earth ourselves individually and then therefore collectively over time. And that's pretty much the whole premise. I mean, so much fits into that. There's so much that has to do with evolving and growing and healing, and most of the reason I feel like we love to do it is because it just makes you enjoy life more, no matter the circumstance, because we're definitely living on a planet where there are so many different types of experiences, and the idea isn't even kind of to try to paint a picture of, you know, everything's rainbow and butterflies all the time, but like as you continue to grow and expand your perspective and release old energies, release old patterns, you not only have more influence over your experience and, you know, this dream that we're dreaming individually and collectively, but you also can find enjoyment and beauty and wisdom in both sides of the polarity, like in the whole wide spectrum of human experience.
We call it galactivated consciousness, this idea of having your awareness and your consciousness kind of elevated and expanded, so it encompasses more than just this planet. And when it comes to the whole galactic history, galactic timeline, and Earth's place in that, Earth is moving into this photonic belt of super high photonic energy. And so we as a collective on an individual level and as a planet are intaking a lot of cosmic energy. So that's why a lot of people are waking up. This might be you. You might have had a spiritual awakening in the last 10 or 15 years, or just recently, you could be having a huge spiritual awakening, and it is happening on a collective level and an individual level, where the earth is ascending from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. Gaia, all of us as a collective, our consciousness, and that is also a process that we love to support.
Definitely. We definitely love to talk about these cycles, and when you kind of start to zoom out into this galactivated consciousness, like there are so many reasons why at different times the world will be going through specific circumstances, and a lot of it will have to do with the astrology and the way the planets are moving. The idea of astrology is essentially like the planets hold a frequency. They're actually beings, like very like evolved beings, including Gaia, that's Earth, and then, you know, Jupiter, Venus, Mars, the Sun, Mercury, Pluto, Neptune, and like as we continue to discover more planets, it's actually like a reflection of us activating more parts of our internal consciousness and self-awareness. For example, like when we discovered Pluto, and, you know, we continue to discover all of the asteroids that go along the asteroid belt, and they have these different aspects that correlate with different parts within our own psyche and our own multidimensional nature. It's like almost as the human continues to evolve and that part of us expands and we gain new access to more of our infinite nature, there's a reflection in that, which will be in the sky, in a planet or some planetary body that like holds this energy and is reflected in the cosmos. And so throughout the year, there are lots of cycles that will open up different portals of planetary energy to kind of come onto the planet, and it's energy and information that we can receive within ourselves and integrate and use to heal and move through different lessons and you know, opportunities to grow and expand in this earth school. It's very much a video game. It's honestly very fun once you start to kind of recognize all of these patterns. And then on a larger scale, the earth, like Calista was saying, is moving closer to actually our central sun, which is
it called Halcyon or something like that?
Alcyon. Yeah, Alcyon. It's our central sun, and it actually holds the
of the Milky
spiritual
Way.
Exactly, of the Milky Way. So it holds so much potent spiritual energy, just like the sun does for like our little solar system.
It gives us
the sun
life.
does represent the soul, and then Alcyon like represents this like massive amount of spiritual energy and awakening, and almost like this next evolution of our species on the planet, because it's also the sun for many other intergalactic beings on other planetary bodies throughout the Milky Way. And so as we move closer to the central sun, the spiritual energy, you know, consciousness is almost just light. It's akin to light. So the greater of that spiritual light that starts to hit the planet, the more opportunities our consciousness has to awaken and to discover new parts of ourselves. And that starts to happen on a more accelerated level as we continue to move forward. So essentially, you could be a completely different person next week than you are to this week. And I think a lot of people have started to experience like what we call timeline hopping, which is feeling like they're experiencing a totally different reality, you know, from one day to the next, from 1 week to the next. And it's very popular, I feel like, to call it quantum leaping. And just like the opportunities for those sort of leaps are growing, and they grow the more that we also participate in discovering these patterns, like coming together, talking about them, learning about ourselves, having our own practices for tuning back into our own awareness and our own center point and all of these things. So that's definitely one of my favorite parts about coming together, is I feel like we just honestly activate so much when we come together and we talk about these patterns and like our different ideas of them and what's happening in different ways that we like to grab the energy, because it's like the energy comes and sometimes it's going to hit you no matter what, but it's also like you can do whatever you want with it. Like, for example, when there's a big planetary happening, or astrological opening, cosmological opening, numerological power day, there is so much energy present, and one person could be experiencing it as so chaotic and so crazy and not know what's going on, and the other person can be like, oh my gosh, there's so much energy here, what do I want to do with it, where do I want to go? And it still might be like really elating, or it might be kind of uncomfortable, but they still like are like, I know where I'm going, my eyes on the prize. And then like your experience, you can utilize it to go where you want to go instead of kind of getting caught in the winds of space-time. So that's another great part about Divine Rising New Earth. It's like will be your news updates for how you can best use energy as we continue to move through this collective ascension.
100%. It is a huge paradigm shift from the 3D to the 5D, and that's also a part of the show Divine Rising New Earth, is highlighting the ways in which collectively our consciousness, our lifestyle, whatever it may be, is transforming in these like patterned ways for all of us. And a huge aspect of that is this realm of the subtle energetics, where in the 3D, a lot of our thinking around cause and effect was matter-based, physical matter-based, and linear time-based. And in the 5D, it's like this energy-first perspective, where physical matter is still a part of the picture. But, for example, the body, the human body. So the 3D I learned in philosophy, like ancient Greek philosophy, Plato or whomever, respect to those Greek gentlemen back then, they were having these discussions about the mind and the body, the duality. There's kind of like this mental and then physical, and on some perspectives they're like separate, and on that view there's like this physical 3D body kind of separate from the spiritual mental aspect of your being. That is not the case on the 5D view. There's that cheesy quote, you're not a human having a spiritual experience, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. So you are like this soul frequency, and you incarnate onto Earth, Gaia, and you have this energy field, electromagnetic energy field, your aura, and that at its center condenses in all these complex ways into the physical body you experience. And so recently I've been thinking of my physical body as like spine first. The spine is so potent. Like Anneka is the queen of Kundalini Yoga, and Kundalini Yoga is symbolized by the snake, which also symbolizes the spine, as well as this spiritual energy that circles and winds up the spine, because the spine connects like the heavens to the earth, and you want it to be a clear, straight channel. And then on a more subtle level, you have your chakras, the chakra system that aligns up and down the spine that some of you guys may have heard of, or if not, you can look it up because there's a lot of information out there. But thinking of your body as an energy field, thinking of your spine as this template for your chakra system, and just like expanding your awareness away from the physical in that way into like these more subtle energetics is gonna be a must. Otherwise, you are going to be lost. You're going to be picking up on these slow, disconnected signals from the 3D when there's a more cohesive picture available to you if you use your more subtle senses. That's why your intuition is also going to be so key in the new earth, because that is the sense we use, this sixth sense, to pick up on these more subtle energetics that aren't perceptible with our five senses alone, but are a key part of the picture when it comes to information that we receive and utilize in our life. So that was our timer. We are efficient, booked, busy, I don't know what to say.
Honestly, we really wanted to do a video and it took us a sec to set everything up, but we're so happy to have it set up. Honestly, we'll probably film another one very soon. I feel like we just had to like burst through that bubble. And yesterday was 9/9, which I was telling Calista, like, I feel like it's this ending, it's this sense of mastery coming to the completion of a cycle before you move on to the next. And I just feel like it's so potent that the next morning we were like, let's just do this. I have to come in Calista because I was like, maybe we should just do audio. And she was like, no, we just like got to burst through and do the video. And we were like, okay, let's do it quick. But anyway, I completely agree with everything you're saying. I feel like it's like, you know, we just want to come together and basically start to offer and share as we continue to grow and learn more ways that we can all help move together into this new perspective that's going to basically prepare us all to be existing in this new reality, because, you know, times are changing and the entire planet is going to go through these moves of ascension. And like the more that like we're prepared and we already start to tap into these new capacities that are going to be so vital in the new earth, like Calista was saying, going beyond the body into the energy, you start to become a master of your own energy, you start to become a master of your own mind, start to become tuned into the subtlety of existence. 9, that's the subtlety, the subtle body. We'll talk about all of this stuff in time to come. But I'm glad we got this in, and thank you so much to my lovely co-host.
Anneka.
Thank you to you for tuning in. We can't wait to do more, and
Flourish.
Flourish until we see you next.